Vice President Joe Biden holding on to leads in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, but still no winner yet in the race for the White House. What we're learning tonight.
There is a silent Trump voter out there. There's a segment of the population that they put their head down, they go to work every day.
This election has shown how polarized this country has become when it comes to presidential politics. We look into why we're so divided. It's becoming all too common, another record number of COVID-19 cases, the new numbers from the state, and how local school districts are now responding.
Customers are still waiting for their headstones and refunds. I'm Kara Kenny. Will tell you why prosecutors say they are not filing criminal charges in the case involving Greenfield Granite.
6 o'clock. Happy Friday, and thanks for watching WRTV News at 6. I'm Mark Mullins. There is still no winner in the presidential race, but former Vice President Joe Biden has opened up a lead in several states that could soon put him at 270 electoral votes, the number needed to win the presidency. Right now, Biden sits at 253 electoral votes to President Donald Trump's 214. We do want to point out that WRTV is an ABC affiliate, so we are using ABC News numbers and projections. Biden has pulled ahead by a slim margin in Georgia, a less than 2,000 vote lead there. But take a look at this. He has opened up a 14,000 plus vote lead in Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, Biden's still ahead in Arizona and Nevada. However, ABC has not called any of those states for Biden yet. But again, Biden needs just 17 more electoral votes to become president-elect. President Trump, meanwhile, must gather 56 more electoral votes, and he has to win Pennsylvania to stay in the race. Biden is expected to address the country in prime time tonight. When he does, we'll bring it to you right here on WRTV with our ABC News coverage. Tonight, we are digging deeper into some issues that have motivated voters to head to the polls. WRTV's Stephanie Wade set out to hear from local voters about this tight race.
President Trump secured the Hoosier state early on election night, but that was not the case across the country. Many battleground states still in limbo right now. With strong feelings on either side, we wanted to know where voters' mindsets were at and what prompted them to vote for either candidate.
We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and through the inaction of our current president, people are dying.
Whether it be because of the president's handling of the coronavirus.
I think it's healthcare, right, and immigration. Because 1 in 4 Latinos knows of someone who has been deported.
People really just wanted to get rid of President Trump, like across the board. They wanted to get rid of him.
These two Democrats tell me they voted for former Vice President Joe Biden.
I believe the Latino community deserves respect. We are American, and I think that this election results just demonstrates the power of our community, the power of our youth who have turned of age and have shown out to the polls.
On the other hand,
I believe in limited government. I believe in sovereignty. I believe in freedom and liberty. And so I voted for President Trump.
Republicans like Susan Blair feel President Donald Trump has honored his campaign promises, and he's the one who can help the economy rebound from the pandemic.
So you're happy with the past 4 years with President Trump?
Yes. Now, do I agree with everything President Trump has said? No, I don't. But at the same time, I'm more concerned with results than I am with rhetoric.
The main issues: public safety, national security, the economy.
A Republican Latino.
For the most part, the country has been going in the right direction.
Carlos May says he's not surprised that a sizable portion of Latinos voted for President Trump, or that reports suggest he picked up more Latino voters in several battleground states compared to the president's 2016 numbers.
Venezuela, Cuba, they're going to vote Republican because they hear Democrats, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, talk about socialism, and we want to increase social this and social that. They came from those countries, and they saw firsthand how those policies did not work.
Religion this is my assumption, right, is really, really important in our culture. And folks who are against abortion, that they just stand next to that issue, but also misinformation.
Polls expected a blue wave of people to vote Democrat this election, but Republicans tell me that's because some didn't feel comfortable sharing they were voting for Trump.
I think they're concerned about retaliation, especially with all the riots that we've had this summer.
We put out hundreds of yard signs at polling places, early voting sites, and every day I got a call from someone saying that all the signs are stolen from the city-county building.
The silent Trump voter having a larger impact than expected as an energized generation of voters watches the results roll in for the future presidency, still undetermined.
We're seeing how close these races are, and so people are realizing how much their vote actually counts.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
Stephanie, thank you. We continue to help you stay on top of the ever-changing numbers in the race for president. ABC News team coverage headed your way at WRTV.com. You can also find the results to the local elections by going to the WRTV.com/election2020 website. Another spike in new COVID-19 cases marking yet another record in a single-day report. Numbers from the Indiana Department of Health show 4,714 additional cases of coronavirus. Again, that's a record number of new cases. And on top of that, the state passes another unwanted threshold. Now, more than 200,800 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19 since the pandemic began. The Department of Health also says there are 37 additional coronavirus deaths. So far, 4,306 people in Indiana have died with COVID-19. And data shows another record number of COVID-related hospitalizations in Indiana. As of yesterday, 2,001 Hoosiers were in Indiana hospitals either with the coronavirus or symptoms that could turn into COVID-19. 28.6% of the state's ICU beds are available. The surge in COVID-19 cases across the state is prompting some school districts to rethink their plans. Students in Greenwood have been attending class in person this year, but starting Monday, the high school and middle school will move to a hybrid schedule. District leaders making the change in response to those growing COVID-19 numbers. Johnson County currently has a positivity rate of almost 9% and is classified as orange on the state dashboard. That's when health leaders recommend moving to that hybrid model. Now, despite that information, another district in Greenwood will not move to a hybrid model. Center Grove schools will continue the year completely in person. They sent this email to parents saying district metrics don't support a change right now, as only 2% of their students are currently out for COVID-related absences. The email also said the academic and mental health impacts of e-learning also weighed heavily into their decision. District leaders said they will continue to monitor cases and told parents to make a plan and be ready in case they do move to a hybrid learning model. Only on WRTV, we're talking one-on-one with the director of the Marion County Public Health Department, Dr. Virginia Kane. She's keeping an eye on the surging number of COVID cases in Marion County. WRTV Chief Investigator Rafael Sanchez spoke with Dr. Kane, and she has a message for everyone.
Dr. Virginia Kane with the Marion County Health Department, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rafael, for having me.
We are seeing a spike in the number of COVID-19 cases in Marion County, the capital city. The numbers are going in the wrong direction. What is going on?
You're having more individuals from this process going on so long, they're less likely to be wearing their masks or doing their 6 feet social distancing when they're out in public. But we're also starting to see more smaller gatherings. So like within different families, households, so you might have 5 or 10 family members that are coming over. And because they're in such close proximity and they're there for a while, and they're less likely to wear masks when they're visiting their parents or go visiting an aunt or relatives, we are starting to see more infections that are occurring as a result of that.
Obviously, that we're seeing an unintended consequence. What do we do?
Well, I think it's really tough because, unfortunately, about 40% of our Hoosiers are asymptomatic. They feel great. They don't have any fevers, so they are unaware that they're infected. And so you're less likely to worry about a family member or a relative coming into your household or in your social network. You spend a lot of time with different people, but now because our numbers are increasing from a community spread, we really have to, I hate to say this, you may have family dinner and all the relatives come on over Sunday. In order to spend time with folks, we need to really reduce having outside members of our household, prevent them from visiting us. But if they are visiting family members, they need to be wearing masks inside the homes in doing the 6 feet distancing.
That was Dr. Virginia Kane with the Marion County Health Department. New developments tonight in the Dre John Reed case. WRTV Investigates Rafael Sanchez has learned that IMPD officers have been alerted about the potential the grand jury reviewing Reed's shooting death will release its findings as early as Monday. Reed was shot and killed following a police chase that turned into a foot chase on May 6th. Metro Police say Reed shot at police, while the Reed family legal team denies that. State police and a special prosecutor led the investigation. Again, WRTV Investigates has learned officers are aware of a pending decision from the grand jury. WRTV has reached out to the special prosecutor and the family spokesperson to get a response. Prosecutors have decided not to file charges following a 3-month criminal investigation into a Greenfield headstone company. WRTV Investigates raised questions about Greenfield Granite's business practices back in August when customer after customer said they paid for headstones but never received them. Our Kara Kenny joins us now with why grieving families are starting to lose hope.
This headstone is just one of many sitting outside of Greenfield Granite. The Quick family doesn't know when they're going to get it because it's all caught up in a legal battle.
Sheila Carson misses her mom, who died in January 2019. Sheila's grieving is more difficult because her mom's resting place still isn't finished.
My mom's headstone.
It's still sitting unfinished outside of Greenfield Granite, the business where Sheila ordered it from a year and a half ago.
It breaks my heart that it's still just sitting here on the sidewalk, that it's not complete. Even if we were allowed to take it now, it's not complete. It doesn't have a base.
Greenfield Granite's owner, Amy Stroll, died by suicide in September amid a criminal investigation into Amy and her business practices. Following her death, the Indiana Attorney General's office filed a lawsuit accusing Greenfield Granite of taking money from more than a dozen customers and not finishing the work. The AG's office is working to get customers refunds and headstones back to families. But it's about to get even more complicated. Amy Stroll's husband, James Stroll, filed for bankruptcy on October 20th.
Disheartened, but not surprised.
James Stroll lists his partial ownership of Greenfield Granite in the filing, and the bankruptcy also says James Stroll did manual labor and became aware of the financial issues with the business and the undelivered work after Amy's death. We asked the Attorney General's office how the bankruptcy affects their case, and they told us the Hancock County lawsuit is still proceeding at this point. Amy Stroll's mother, Cynthia Heck, is listed as Greenfield Granite's registered agent in the state's lawsuit. She also sold the building for $120,000 a week before Amy's death. Hancock County prosecutors announced this week they will not be filing criminal charges against Heck, James Stroll, or anyone else, despite a more than 3-month investigation into Greenfield Granite's business practices.
We did have a pretty strong case criminally with Amy. However, with her death, we kind of had to change gears on that.
Detective Nicole Gilbert says she's talked with more than 100 potential victims who've spent more than $130,000 on headstones, many who never received them.
I feel for these people, and I understand that they wanted criminal charges. I worked with the prosecutor's office so much to look to make sure we weren't missing something that could be charged. But also knowing the law and what can be proven and knowing the level of evidence we would need, especially after speaking to the prosecutor's office, I know personally it's not there.
The decision not to prosecute is not sitting well with customers like Mary Collins, who paid for her husband's bench but never received it or a refund.
That really disturbs me. I would think a company has got to be responsible. Whether the person is still here or not, that company, I came to this company, I didn't come to Amy. And I don't understand that.
Mary had to pay another business to finish her husband's bench. She's glad to finally have a place to visit with him.
Makes me sick. Sick. That they can do this to people and get away with it. Think of all the people that suffered because of this.
Greenfield Granite is facing other legal troubles as well. At least 9 other civil lawsuits from customers. Most say they paid for a headstone but never received it. Grieving families like Mary Collins want to know what happened to the money customers paid for headstones.
Yeah, where's the money?
Detective Gilbert says she's reviewed financial records but won't disclose her findings because it's now part of the state's case against Greenfield Granite. Sheila Carson is struggling with the bankruptcy filing and decision not to file charges, but she's holding out hope she'll have her mom's headstone soon.
Each bit of update or news or bad news is just an emotional roller coaster all over again.
No one answered the door when we knocked here at Greenfield Granite, and in the window is the state's temporary restraining order, which says the company cannot remove any property from the premises. Reporting in Greenfield, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Well, WRTV Investigates has tried to reach out to James Stroll and Cynthia Heck for comment, and we are still waiting to hear back. No attorney is listed in court documents, and no date is set for court for the Attorney General's lawsuit against Greenfield Granite. But the civil lawsuits in Hancock County will head to trial this month.
We topped out around 70 degrees this afternoon. Those numbers are around 10 to 20 degrees above average, and we are not finished warming when we could break some records.
A season full of ups, downs, and unique challenges will end for half of the state's high school football teams tonight. Only 48 will remain after the sectional finals. We'll get a look ahead at some of our area's top matchups when the news at 6 continues.
We're about a week into that time change. How are you adjusting to it? Doing okay with it? Well, I tell you, this is the hardest part, at least for me to adjust to, just after 6 o'clock, and it is dark out there across central Indiana. But at least we've had some mild temperatures. We saw a lot of sunshine today. We're still sitting in the lower 60s, above the average high for this time of year, and that wind light out of the south. It'll stay under 10 miles per hour for the rest of the night. And those temperatures, they are starting to drop off pretty quickly now that the sun has set. You're already in the 50s in Bloomington and Columbus at 59. Meanwhile, still 67 degrees in the Muncie area, but you'll be cooling off as well. High pressure, that's in control just off to our southeast. That's bringing in that light south wind, but also look off to the north and west. Very quiet weather, so we're not really expecting many changes here. We are going to enjoy a dry weekend, but there's a look at those tumbling temperatures for us. Upper 50s in Indianapolis at 8 o'clock this evening, and we will settle back down into the middle 40s tomorrow morning. So comfortably cool is what we will call it with those clear skies. 43 for you in Richmond, 42 in Columbus, and 46 degrees in the Lafayette area. But temperatures will warm quickly again tomorrow as we will keep that southerly direction to the wind, and also more sunshine here. We are already into the mid-50s by mid-morning, 61 at 11 a.m., and we will see those numbers continuing to climb into the middle 70s for that afternoon high. So I think we'll actually be a few degrees warmer today or tomorrow than what we had this afternoon. Tomorrow, 72 for you in Kokomo and Anderson, 73 degrees in the Muncie area. We'll find temperatures everywhere in the lower to middle 70s for our Saturday. 74 in Martinsville, Brazil at 74, and around 74 Bloomington, Seymour, and Bedford. The record high tomorrow is 76 degrees. It's that again on Sunday and Monday, but that's also the forecasted high those days. So we may tie or break a record there. And again on Tuesday, the record equals the forecast of 75. Late in the day on Tuesday going into Wednesday, that's when our next chance for rain, possibly a few strong thunderstorms will be moving through, and that brings in a transition to some more seasonably cool temperatures in that 7-day planning forecast, which is going to be taking us through that rain and into the cooler air. If you're going to be heading to the Colts game here on Sunday, we'll find temperatures looking pretty nice for you there in the 70s. There's a look at that 7-day planning forecast, 70s through Tuesday, then 55 the high Wednesday. Mark?
All right, Kyle, thank you. Hard to find a better night weather-wise for some November football. No snow pants needed on this Friday. There are several big games around the area as the state tournament reaches the sectional finals. Brad Brown has a look at what's in store for Week 12.
It has been a most unusual season in so many ways, but as the Fridays have passed, the best teams have risen to the top. Tonight, the first trophies of this year's state tourney will be handed out in the sectional finals. Class 6A features a couple of intriguing matchups. Lawrence North has not won a football sectional in 30 years. The Wildcats make a trip to Warren Central for the finals. LN beat the Warriors by 3 touchdowns on October 2nd. Here's a look at the other 6A games involving area teams. Defending state champ Carmel goes to Brownsburg, and #1 Center Grove plays at home. Defending 5A champ New Pal needed a huge comeback last week just to get into the sectional final. They'll play at Whiteland tonight. The Warriors have the same 8-1 record as the Dragons. Whiteland's athletic offensive attack has tallied more than 40 points in 5 of their last 6 wins.
We made sure that we've tried to make every day as enjoyable for them to be here as we can, because we really didn't know how many days we were going to be here. And I think the one thing that has done is it's kind of made our kids very hungry here at the end of the season and not tired.
Your guys have gotten out there on Fridays, though. They have found something that has brought a focus to this group and have really channeled that energy, it seems, to what you've needed to do on Friday nights.
Our kids have fun being around each other, and they have fun playing football. And I think that that's really important. I know that seems simplistic, but a lot of times, you know, one of the things that we've learned through this COVID season of 2020 is maybe less is more. You know, the minimum prescriptive dose of everything. You know, you can't, as a coach, you can't overdo it because you just don't have the ability to have them all together and, you know, rehash it 2 or 3 times. And I think one of the things that we've learned is we've kept it, you know, it's been really fun for our kids.
Another great matchup has top-ranked Cathedral playing Decatur Central. It is a rematch of a sectional game from a year ago when the Fighting Irish won by 30. And we'll get a look at a great game in 1A. Number 2 Lutheran hosting number 5 Covenant Christian. Covenant is 11-0, one of 5 unbeatens in the smallest class. The teams did not play during the regular season. Lutheran eliminated Covenant from the tourney a year ago. Tonight's winners will advance to the regionals next weekend. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Outdoor plans? Yes, please. We've got highs in the 70s right through Tuesday, and then it's Tuesday evening that brings that next chance for rain. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. World News is next. Then Mark and I are back with you right here at 7 o'clock.